Welcome back, everybody, to the Baltimore Orioles franchise here on MLB The Show 21. We have made it to the offseason here in year number 4, and our season ended very prematurely, losing in 4 games in the ALDS to our divisional rival Toronto Blue Jays, who ended up making the World Series, losing to the Atlanta Braves in 6 games. It really felt like this was going to be the year for us to make a big run. We finished with the top record in the American League. We were really playing good baseball the final month of the year. And I don't know what happened. Our offense never really clicked throughout the playoffs. The pitching was not overly consistent. And in the MLB playoffs, any team can win any series. And we saw that go down here against the Toronto Blue Jays, who we were noticeably better against head-to-head in the regular season, but they had our number in the playoffs, and now we have to go back to the drawing board here in the offseason, and it's clear that this team does need a minor shuffle. There are plenty of building blocks on this roster who are going to be mainstays for a long time, but I think we need a couple more pieces to get over that hump, and we're going to be very aggressive this offseason. We're going to be willing to spend money, make big trades, do all that stuff. Here are the stats throughout the regular season. The season recap here is only going to last like a minute or so because I really want to hop right into the offseason, but I figured you guys would want to see the final stats from the regular season, so here's a good look at it. Our offense was one of the best in baseball. We led the major leagues in home runs, although I think we only had 2 throughout the 4 playoff games. Our pitching, specifically our starting pitching, was probably our weak link throughout the year, and I think we definitely will look to add a starting pitcher because the back end of the rotation really was not all that consistent, and then the bullpen was one of the best in baseball and was really consistent throughout the season. So I think we'll certainly focus on starting pitching, but that's not the only area we're going to look at. There are also a few players in the minor leagues who, of course, spent time in the majors, and most of these guys were disappointing. Max Meyer and Matthew Thompson were supposed to be big parts for rotation. They struggled. Marco Luciano had a really bad year, hitting under 200. And maybe this is the offseason where we look to move on from some of our former top prospects who haven't really developed as expected in order to go out and get star power, because that's what we're looking for this offseason. We're not going to go out and make small moves for depth. We are swinging for the fences because our World Series window is wide open and we have to capitalize. So let's get to the offseason itself. Not going to spend a lot of time on retirements because nobody in our organization is going to call it a career, no Hall of Famers as well. So let's get to the actual offseason. In the first stage here, we have exclusive free agent negotiations and managerial changes, and we have a lot of money to spend in those areas. Only $38 million are currently tied into our players, and that number could go down quite a bit if Nick Castellanos declines his $14 million player option. So we have 5 exclusive free agents here, starting with Corbin Burnes, and after thinking about it for a little bit, I don't think it makes sense to bring back Corbin Burnes. He's asking for over $23.5 million, which is ace money, and I don't think he's an ace. I understand we traded a lot for him last offseason, but he's regressed quite a bit this year. He's 30 years old. He didn't pitch like an ace last year, and I think there are bigger and better fish we could get. Jordan Hicks is kind of in the same boat. We would be paying him top reliever money, and he's a good pitcher. He was good last year, but I don't think he's worthy of top dollar, and I don't think we're going to bring him back either. John Means is one of the few OG players left in the series. He's been very consistent the past few seasons. Good back-end starter, but for $9 million, I think that's a little bit of an overpay. Again, if we want to sign big-time free agents, we have to let guys like John Means go, which does suck, but we have plenty of pitching depth in our organization to where I think we can. As for Max Muncy and Alex Colomé here at the bottom, they're both good players. They don't want too much money, but we have a lot of depth at those positions, and both of those players are kind of older, so I would rather just go younger at those spots. So we're going to let all of our exclusive free agents go. We have 3 spots open on the coaching staff. I don't think I'm going to fire anybody. I considered firing Carlos Feebles in the regular season, but I can't bring myself to do that after the team has overachieved 2 years in a row. I think that would be silly. But we do need 3 new coaches. Starting at the pitching coach, we're going to assign Brian Nam to a 1-year deal. I thought about firing our pitching coach last year too. We didn't. We just let his contract ride out, but we're not going to bring him back, and we're going to look at Nam instead. Luis Hill will be the new first base coach. We lose -1 durability with him, but we do improve in other aspects as well. And then third base coach Cito Williams as well. I think he has nice grades. We're looking older here with the staff. All 3 of these guys are over the age of 57, so we are adding some older baseball minds, which I think could be beneficial for our organization. So we're going to simulate into free agency. Cito Williams declines our offer, and we need a new third base coach. So we're going to look at Reggie Willits instead, who's only 40. He's a younger guy. We lose -2 stealing with him, but we get big boosts in reaction, arm accuracy, and arm strength. Nick Castellanos declines his $14 million player option, so he will be a free agent, and as our other two coaches accept. So now we have our full staff, but we need to talk about Nick Castellanos, who I am not willing to let go after he had a phenomenal season for us. 188 hits, 45 home runs, 132 RBIs. He hit .318 with a slash line of .373, .616, .989. He was one of the best hitters in the American League, and I think we'd be silly to let him go. Even though he wants a lot of money, even though he's 33, we need him on this team. So for now, we're going to offer him a qualifying offer, and we will offer him an extension once we reach to the actual free agency period. So that's where we are now. This is probably the most hectic stage of the offseason. And as you can see, this free agency class is loaded. We're going to talk about free agency in a little bit. We're going to go through the dirty work first, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. The first step here is the 40-man selection process. We're going to add Jeremiah Jackson, Patrick Bailey, and Kyron Baldwin. I did not want to lose any of them in the Rule 5 draft, and I also wanted to keep a couple 40-man spots open for free agency. In the arbitration stage, I kept it simple. Everybody who was eligible, we offered, because I didn't really want to let any of these guys go. I thought about offering Adley Rutschman a big contract extension, but I've decided to hold off for now. Maybe we will next season. And then in the contracts renewable stage, again, we offered pretty much everybody with the exception of a few guys. I really like our minor league depth and system where it's at, so I figured I would want to bring a lot of these guys back. All right, now it's time for the good stuff. Free agency. We only have $24 million tied into our roster. Keep in mind that does not include the contracts renewable or the arbitration, so that number will go up. But we still have a lot of money to spend on a lot of really good players. Shane Bieber, Walker Buehler, Juan Soto, just to name a few. This free agency class is loaded. But first, we have to make sure we bring back Nick Castellanos, who wants more money than he originally was asking for. We're going to offer him 2 years, $41 million, with a player option for the second year. The contract is front-loaded, so he will make more money in year one. It's a very player-friendly contract, so I think he'll take it, and obviously we really want him back. As I said earlier, we need an ace. There are two pitchers higher than Corbin Burnes in Walker Buehler and Shane Bieber. Of the two, I would slightly prefer Walker Buehler. He is a year older, but he's been very good for the Dodgers for really his whole career there. He's pitched in plenty of big games. He actually had his worst season of his career, or at least his worst season of the series of his past season. But despite that, I think he could be our ace going forward. He is not asking for the full max of $31 million per season like Shane Bieber, but I'm willing to offer him close to the max just to make sure we get him. 3 years, $87 million, that's $29 per season. So Buehler and Castellanos will be our two offers, and now we are going to start to simulate forward. Hopefully we get both of those players. So immediately Buehler says he's no longer interested in our offer, so that's great. I guess he's going to sign somewhere else. We'll figure that out shortly, but already not off to a flying start. Pete Alonso is staying in the NL East. He signs with the Phillies. Jordan Hicks goes to the A's. Good for him getting a nice 6-year deal. That's actually pretty cheap. I would have been willing to offer him that. Brandon Woodruff goes to the Mets, and then look at this. Walker Buehler is a Blue Jay. Yeah, so not only does he reject our offer, but he signs with our rivals who beat us in the playoffs last year. So Toronto might be even better than they were a season ago. If it makes us feel any better, Nick Castellanos has accepted his deal, so he is back. But I'm very upset that we lost out on Buehler, so I feel like we have to go after Shane Bieber. Bieber is a year younger, and he has been as good as Walker Buehler throughout his career. He does want more money, so it's going to be harder to get him, I feel like. I'm not willing to offer him more than 5 years, so that's what we're going to give him. Unfortunately, that's not his leading offer, so I figured we're not going to get him. But Shane Bieber had other ideas. He has signed with the Baltimore Orioles on a 5-year deal for $155 million. This completely took me out of left field. I just offered him just because I felt bad that we didn't get Walker Buehler, and I figured we might as well offer Shane Buehler, even though we're not going to get him. But we got him, which I did not see coming. He was getting bigger offers for more years, but he wanted to come here. And this is such a big get for our organization. As good as German Marquez was last year, and I do think he could be an ace-level pitcher, this is a true #1 Cy Young caliber ace we're getting here with Shane Bieber. Him and Marquez at the top of our rotation is going to be great. Juan Soto looks like he's going to go to the Yankees. That's not fun. But I don't think we really need to go after any other big-time players, so we're going to offer a couple of minor leaguers and sim forward. Carson Kelly goes to the Padres, 3 years, $40 million. Corbin Burns is an Astro, 6 years, $123 million. Again, good for him, but I would not have offered him that. I am very happy with Shane Bieber as opposed to Corbin Burns, but I wish him the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see him in the playoffs because the Astros are really good. Diego Castillo is a Marlin, 5 years, $55. So he will return to Florida. Freddie Peralta gets legit ace money from the Cubs. He got Shane Bieber type of money. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Good for him. Getting some bag. John Means is a National. 3 years, $33 million. So he won't have to travel too far. Again, good for him. I wish him the best of luck in Washington, and I hope we will get to play him. Simming forward, Juan Soto has signed with the Yankees. Dear God, help us all. As good of a hitter as Juan Soto is, which I think he's the best hitter in baseball, now add the element of Yankee Stadium, the most hitters-friendly park in baseball. Yeah, I'm not overly excited about playing against Juan Soto. Dominic Smith is a Red, 6 years, $126 million, so they finally got their true Nick Castellanos replacement. Joey Lucchesi is a Cardinal, 3 years, $38 million, so they had a nice lefty. Eloy Jimenez to the Mariners. 2 years in a row, Seattle's gone out and spent a big contract. Last year, they got Rafael Devers, and now it's Eloy who joins the team. Austin Meadows leaves Toronto. That's good news for us. He is a Padre. The Braves somehow get better, signing Franmil Reyes. Not to mention, they re-signed both Mike Soroka and Max Fried. I have no clue how they have enough money for all this. Clint Frazier staying in New York, but he's going to switch locker rooms from the Yankees to the Mets. The Braves then sign Yohan Moncada on a very team-friendly contract. Again, how do they have enough money for this? They just won the World Series. They lost nobody, and they add 2 legit starters, including Franmil Reyes, who's an MVP-level hitter. I don't know how they have enough money for this. Brandon Lau is a Ray. Alex Verdugo leaves our division. He's a Cardinal. The Red Sox have been awfully quiet this offseason, which I guess is good. David Bodie is a Red. Willie Adames signs a team-friendly deal with Arizona, so he is out of our division. The Rays have not really done anything either. They're going to be really bad next year. Max Muncy is a Cub, 2 years, $13. I would have not been willing to pay that, but again, I hope he does well in Chicago as his career winds down. Glaber is a Diamondback. He will be teaming up with his former Yankee teammate Aaron Judge in Arizona. 9 years, $127 million. That's actually not that expensive for the Diamondbacks. There's still some talent here in free agency, but it is definitely diminished, and there's still nobody I'm overly interested in. I accidentally declined the Tigers offer for whatever reason. I actually wanted to see it, but oh well. Jeff McNeil's an Astro, so they continue to get better, which isn't really good news for us because they are a contender in the American League. Entering the Rule 5 draft, our 40-man roster is full, so we do not have a pick. Hopefully we do not lose anybody, and it appears that we have. There are quite a few former Orioles as well getting picked here. The #1 pick in the Rule 5 draft was Josh Wolf, who we traded away last year at the deadline. Clearly that was a good decision, because I probably would not have put him on the 40-man. So now he is going to Texas. Terran Vavra, another former Oriole, goes to the Reds. He was the big piece in the German Marquez trade, and the Rockies are replacing him with Antony Flores from our organization. I did not want to lose Flores at all, but I wanted to keep those extra 40-man roster spots, so it sucks that he's gone, but I think he's going to do really well in Colorado. If I could have brought him back, I would have, but we don't have enough space on the 40-man, so I had to let somebody good go, and it happens to be him. A few international subscriber-made players here in the Rule 5 draft as well, so they will be major leaguers, which is cool. And now we're going to simulate a couple months forward. This is the dry spell of the MLB offseason. We do have a somewhat big trade here. Bobby Witt and Royce Lewis are swapped with each other. Kenta Maeda also going to Kansas City. The Athletics offers a trade here. Josh Toney for Johnny Flores. That's going to be a respectful decline. Victor Robles of the Pirates. I like that signing a lot for Pittsburgh. 4 years, $42 million. Good for them finally spending some money. The A's really want to trade us Johnny Flores. Jeez. This trade offer is a little bit better, but I'm still going to say no. I'm not overly interested in Flores. Although we do kind of need a new shortstop with Antony Flores gone. JT Realmuto is an Atlanta Brave. How do the Braves have the money for this? I'm so confused. They gave up a couple veterans to the Phillies, but man, Atlanta, the World Series champs, is somehow having a better offseason than anybody. As for the arbitration hearings, the panel sided with pretty much everybody except for Sir Anthony Dominguez, which isn't really a surprise because everybody who we offered arbitration to is good except for Sir Anthony Dominguez. So I guess none of those results are really surprising. So now we're at the end of the offseason, but this is where we really make our money. It's time to talk trade. I always make my trades at the end of the offseason, and we have some big ones here. There are still a couple spots I would like to improve on this team. We haven't really addressed corner infield. Maybe we look for more depth in the bullpen. Maybe we look for another established veteran starting pitcher. We have quite a few different routes we could go for when looking at some trades. Our first one here is probably the biggest we're going to make, and it's an interesting swap. Adrian Morejon for Brusdar Graterol. Both Morejon and Graterol are 26 years old. Morejon is the worst player, but he is a starting pitcher, which does give him arguably more value. We're also going to give up third base prospect Tiquan Forbes, who's a fine player, nothing overly special, but he's not bad. He's a good utility guy, should provide the Dodgers nice value. But Graterol is a great reliever. He has been the model of consistency in this series with the Dodgers. All 4 seasons has an ERA under 3. He has less team control with Morejon, which is another reason why the Dodgers probably liked him more. But that makes our bullpen better and gives up a player in Morejon who I don't really see as a big piece of the future. Graterol will be replacing Sir Anthony Dominguez. The experiment finally comes to an end. And this trade I think you guys are really going to like. So Sir Anthony Dominguez will be going to the St. Louis Cardinals for Lenny Lang. I've been eyeing him up like a hawk the past few seasons, and I think it's finally time to make a deal for him. Since entering the major leagues in 2022, Lenny Lang has played for 3 different teams. His first half of his career, he's been with Boston, was traded to Cleveland, and then after a couple bumps was traded to St. Louis, where he has been phenomenal. But at 39 years old, with his age, he doesn't really have a ton of value. Obviously not being a good defender either, but offensively he is an absolute stud, and hopefully Baltimore will be his last team. I hate that he's been bouncing around everywhere, so hopefully this will be his permanent home. We're also going to add Jordan Walker, who will replace Tiquan Forbes. He's a little bit worse, but he's also 5 years younger. An interesting minor league swap. Hudson Haskin to the White Sox for Emmanuel Cervantes. Haskin is better, but he's also older and has less upside, and we do not need Haskin. We are loaded in the outfield, but I still want to add some more corner infield talent. Obviously, being 39 years old, Lenny Lang is not the future, and I think Emmanuel Cervantes here is. He has a really unique skill set. Is not a good contact hitter, but other than that, he is phenomenal. Great power, great defense, great arm, and he has an unbelievable eye at the plate. Excellent discipline, draws a ton of walks. I think he could be a really fun player in a year or two. And then we have a small minor league swap for our final trade here. Victor Vodnik for the Twins for Barry Reyna. We needed some more catching depth in the organization. Reyna is only 20. He's a switch hitter, and I think he could be pretty good. So there you go. That's our offseason. A very eventful one for us as we make quite a few big moves. There's actually one more trade, though. Brady Singer to the Cardinals for Ard Van Dijk and Nolan Gorman. That's a nice return for Kansas City, but the Cardinals are also getting a pretty good pitcher as well. So now I can recap our offseason, and I think we hit a grand slam. Trading for Brusdar Graterol, acquiring Lenny Lang, and of course the big contract of Shane Bieber, who will be making top dollar for the next 5 years, but will be well worth it as he is our ace going forward. And I believe that this team has what it takes to get over the hump and become a true World Series contender. So I cannot wait for the start of Season 5. I'm excited to go through this next journey with you guys. We will not be doing a spring training stream. I want to hop right into regular season. I think a lot of you guys would probably agree with that. So next episode will be our opening day. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Peace out.